Ladies and gentlemen, stand up and put your hands together for the Build Something Media Podcast. And here's your host, Justin Bethune.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
Today, I am joined by Chris Moreland.
As always.
And our guest, Kelly Szemborski. Did I get it right that time?
Yeah, you did.
Hey, look at me.
You're
Impressive.
enunciating syllables.
It's a weird name.
Enunciating syllables. Thank you. It's not even that
Give
late.
yourself a round of applause. I'm so excited for you.
Let's
Thanks.
go.
All right.
Okay, so today we are going to start with our commercial because we want to show off to Kelly.
Yeah, we're going to show you the commercial that we did over the weekend and turned pretty quickly to get back out. I think we posted it. Did you post it today?
I have not posted it today. Facebook is glitching out, so I don't want to post anything right now.
Yeah, so it's probably might go out tonight.
Yeah, there's some issues with I didn't want to deal with it, so let's
share the commercial.
Here we go.
Oh, he looks so happy. Oh, look at you guys.
And newcomers.
Well,
Because life is a lot more beautiful.
let me
Start it over, man. Come on.
In a crazy world, it's a lot more important to break bread with family, friends, neighbors, and newcomers. Because life is a lot more beautiful without all the noise. For decks and exteriors that elevate your life and create experiences and memories that last a lifetime, there's only one source in Chattanooga, the Home Source Network.
Yeah, buddy.
That's cute. Also, I know most of the people in that video. Famous.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I told Calix last night, I was like, dude, you know you're going to be on Hulu, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, your friends are going to be so jealous.
Yeah, we got a couple of things going on Hulu the next week or two.
I think we're going to have 3 total.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
3
4 with Beth.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna have 4.
And that's a service you provide as well.
It is a service we provide, streaming ads. Yep. And that one I think is going to be a big one for us. I think there's a lot of value there, largely because you have a captive audience. Whereas you can skip an ad on YouTube, you can kind of skip through an ad on Facebook, or you'll just keep scrolling. But if you're watching your favorite TV show, you're going to sit through that 20, 30-second ad.
And Hulu's really good about you paying for ad-free, and then all of a sudden here pops an ad, and then you got to pay more to keep having ad-free, and it's very frustrating. But
everybody's doing that.
Buy into it and keep paying them more money.
Right. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going through that because my girlfriend has all the lower paid ones, and then I have the ones with no ads.
Yeah.
So every time we're watching a movie, I'm streaming it from my phone because I'm not sitting there watching ads. We tried to watch a movie the other night, and it was going to be like 2 hours because like every 10 minutes there was a 2.5-minute ad on Hulu, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore.
No. Rather just not watch it at all.
Exactly. It's like, what am I paying for?
Yeah. We watched the first 2 seasons of Welcome to Wrexham, and I just can't watch the third one. I'm so bored by it now. It's just the same crap over and over and over and over again.
I'm not familiar with that one.
So Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought a soccer team in Wales, and it's the story of them going from the lowest league in England to the highest league in England, hopefully, maybe.
Sounds like a TV show that I watched recently.
It is a TV show that you've watched recently.
No. There's what was the name of it?
Welcome to Wrexham?
No. The real show.
Welcome to Wrexham.
No, not. It's an actual scripted show with actors, not a documentary.
I have no idea. I don't typically watch much TV.
On Apple, what's the guy's name? The funny one.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, yeah. That's kind of the story then.
Yep.
It's really funny. Great show.
I mean, if you look at the shape of a story, it's always that. It's always, there's somebody down here and they're going up here, or there's somebody in the middle and they fall down here and then they're going back up here, and there's somebody up here and they're going down here. Or what is it called? What's her name? Cinderella. In the case of Cinderella, somebody comes along and they stair step them up to here so they have an opportunity to be up here. And then they hold on to it, or they lose it, the slipper, thing. And then they get it back. And it's just the story over and over and over again. People love seeing bad shit happen to good people.
Yeah, and we understand that.
It's just it's the shape of a good story. And if you want to make as Kurt Vonnegut once said, if you want to make $1 million, then create real characters that everybody loves and then make terrible things happen to them.
Pretty
Old
much.
Yeller. Old Yeller.
How much more innocent could you be?
I don't remember. What is there was a movie I saw in theaters about a dog's life. And at that point in my life, it hadn't dawned on me that a movie about a dog's life is going to include the ending of that dog's life. And I was very upset.
Because it's a short life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you cry. And it's awful.
Thank you for bringing back my childhood
But you know
trauma.
what? The next one that comes out, you're going to go there and you're going to cry again.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, you will. You'll be like, oh, there's another dog movie. I love dogs. And then you go and you're like, no.
Chris, we're not dogs.
We're not dogs. That's an inside joke.
That's an inside joke. Yeah. So
they do an audiophile podcast, and I was editing it one day, and and I'm just listening, and I'd been in it for about an hour, and the next words that come out of his mouth in this edit were, "We're not dogs," and it's just was the most absurd thing I think I'd ever heard at that point in my life, because I died laughing.
It was just random.
It was so random. I was not, those weren't the words at all that I was expecting to come out of his mouth. If you were a like a machine learning, like large language model, and those are the words that it predicted, I think it would be like a 2% probability. Be very low.
See, that's just like my everyday life though. So anytime, without fail, anytime I'm like, oh, the kids are doing something cute, let me take a video, my husband says some off the wall shit.
I think she just compared you to like 4 and 5 year olds.
Yeah, I get it all the time. That's why kids love me.
Yeah, it's true.
You never know what I'm gonna say.
No, that's true.
No, it's comparing you to my husband, who is
probably just like me,
yeah.
who is also like a 4 or 5 year old boy.
Yeah, we go and see. So his youngest brother is preteen. And they get together, and I'm like, am I married to a preteen? Because I'm hungry, right? I'm waiting to go eat, and they're playing punchies, and I'm just like, what is life right now? And then, of course, I'm hangry, and we're like this close to divorce because I'm hangry and he's playing punchies.
Your husband's going to love seeing this.
He knows I love him.
Oh,
we flip each other off every day. That's a sign of love. Our
Aww.
kids are going to be so healthy when they're
okay.
But no, really.
I think it's important for kids to see their parents fight and find a way to move forward amicably, or not. And just live with it. One or the other. I mean, you got to learn how to deal with life somehow, right?
Yeah.
He also hugs me, though. So, balance.
Yeah, definitely. So. All right. Hot seat. You've got 30 seconds to tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, I don't like open-ended questions is probably the first thing about me.
It wasn't a question. It was a statement.
It's the same thing. The same. It feels the same.
Well, hang on. I think it was a very specific question. Who are you?
Well,
I approach it from a purely black and white standpoint, like looking at it from
nothing's black and white. Everything in life is a shade of gray. I broke Chris.
He's gone. He gone.
Chris philosophy. They're just like, we have 2 more podcasts, Chris. So, yeah. We'll have to dig into the philosophy of life the next time.
I mean,
on the next episode of, where's the camera? Right here. On the next episode of, what's it called? Camera over here.
Builds.
Her podcast, whatever the hell it's called. Yeah. You have to figure that out between now and then, right?
Am I still talking about myself? I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Okay. How about
So what
this?
do you do for a living?
Hang on a second. Stop. Let's do this. I'll get very specific because I can do this. I have a 6-year-old. I can get very specific. All right. Here we go. What is the name that your mother gave you and is currently on your social security card? And go.
Well, first of all, that's assuming that I have never changed my name. So bold of you, but also I have never changed my name. So fun fact, my crazy last name is my maiden name. Mm-hmm. I have not changed it. I will not. So my name's Kelly. Mm-hmm. Kelly Szemborski.
Freestone Realty Group.
Freestone Property
Group. Property Group. Almost got it.
Yep. So I broker and co-own a completely independent real estate company brokerage in Chattanooga. We service Tennessee and Georgia. But then I personally am also licensed in Alabama. So I do that through an independent firm in Huntsville. So collectively, we have 4 different MLSs spanning about 2 hours radius outside of Chattanooga. It does encompass Huntsville, Nashville, Knoxville, and then almost down to Atlanta.
Yeah, so just to be clear, if you are an SEC fan of any of the teams that are actually good, she can represent you, and she can help drive up the price by letting your competitors know, the teams that are playing against you, know that somebody maybe in Alabama might be bidding on that house, and somebody in Tennessee might just really want to beat them at something. So
that's good.
I'm just saying, use every tool you have at your disposal. Am I wrong? Okay. But tell us about Freestone Property Group.
Mm-hmm.
And is it, I believe you started it with a partner?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
Myself and Chase Buckner. He has more of a commercial background. I came more from a residential. And so it was really interesting how we just kind of organically trained each other as friends after we did a deal together, for about a year and a half. And then we both just felt like we were pouring so much of ourselves into a business that wasn't ours. And so one day over lunch, we were both just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should be doing something more and something that's more mine. And then just kind of a fluke, we decided to create it. And then it's gone really well so far. We're coming up on a year. So we opened July of 2023.
Cool.
Yeah, and I like it.
Real quick, what have the advantages of that been for your business?
Everything.
Yeah. Like versus being part of a larger, more traditional brokerage, being like having your own business and running your own brokerage. Like there are definitely advantages of being part of a larger brokerage. And so it's like that, it would be a little bit disingenuous to like say that there aren't advantages, because they got money, number one, and they've got the brand recognition.
Of course.
There are advantages, but it's like I'm sure there are advantages to being a small one too. And like especially with the freedom of your ability to go and try to find like more value from like your marketing, like with reaching out to people through the internet. I'm sure you have other ways too. I'd love to hear about that.
So I mean, I will say the disadvantage is we have really low overhead on purpose. So if you want to come into a flashy office, we are not it. We have a very small office, super bare bones, but that allows us to pour money into things that matter, as opposed to an office no one comes to anymore anyway. And then with it being ours is just so great, because at least for me, and I can't speak for him because haven't really gone into all the details on that. But for me, I spent years working really long days. I trained agents. I still produced. At one point, I was on salary, fully recruiting and training, full-time job, and then also had production. And mind you, like my first child I had in college. So I'm doing this on top of being a parent. A lot of that time my husband worked out of state. So it was just a lot. It was very draining. I loved what I did, but I made so much less money working that much. And now, so as the broker, obviously I have to be present for my agents. But even with that responsibility, I can sell a third of the homes and make the same amount of money. And right now, all of my training and coaching, it's basically negative money. I'm not getting paid from our firm yet. But I still have so much more time with my kids. And that's something that I'm really excited to push, and why I like what you guys are doing too, is because I think agents fall into this trap that they have to have a giant team. They have to have a giant brokerage. They have to pay for leads. But really, they just need training, and they need to be partnered with the right people to push it. Because I mean, you can buy paid leads, but you're going to spend thousands a month and need to close 4 or 5 houses to pay your mortgage, and that's not what I want to build. I want to build something that is family.
Build something.
Yeah. That is more focused on, who you are as a person, not just what your job is, right? And I think that we've seen kind of a push in this in society. It's so frustrating if you try to find a work from home job, because so is everyone else. They want to be home with their kids more, or they want to be able to go do what they want to do and not waste the money on gas getting to and from work. So if we can translate that into real estate too, of work with people who already know, like, and trust you, don't just throw your money at something that may or may not turn into something. It creates a whole different lifestyle. And I think people are just afraid of it because they're afraid of failure. But if you can set up this formula where, okay, well, you're an agent who is entirely trained in how to close a deal once you meet someone. You know how to navigate their wants, their needs, what their next steps are. You make sure you aren't missing any pieces. So God forbid, I mean, I've seen people list houses and not have any idea where their seller's going. That's just, I think, unethical. But if you can take that training and then partner it with this marketing that is just going to boost you so much more organically and naturally and put you in front of people who want to hear what you're saying and come to you versus you spending your whole day chasing down something that might never turn into anything. It's just entirely different.
Yeah. No, it's fair. All right. Well, Kelly, we'll be talking a lot more.
Let's talk about...
You want to keep going?
Yeah, let's talk about real quick what we were covering earlier, since Kelly's interested in this stuff and how it can benefit her. Yeah. And also helping us push out these services for other people in her field that she knows that can help them and those that she works with. So I wanted to kind of go over this presentation that we'd put together and how it can benefit her and her fellow realtors. So we're going to bring this up, and I'm going to let Chris talk on this for a minute.
All right.
And go.
All right. So...
present to me.
Yeah, so why video? Justin started late in my presentation, so he's showing
Well, we don't need all the Chris Moreland stuff.
Not that part, but the why video is important. So back to... So why is video important? I don't need the applause. Not this time.
You don't live for it?
I don't.
There it is.
So that's why it's there. Because it's funny to me. Because it's like, I put it there because it's awkward on purpose. Anyway, so why is video important, Chris? Well, let's find out. Justin is supposed to be pushing buttons and he's texting people.
No, I'm not.
Next, because I like to lead from the front.
Awkward is my brand too. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great. It works out sometimes because I like to lead from the front. And what I mean by that is that Justin needs to hit the arrow and pay attention. Thanks. So one 30-minute podcast produces enough content to generate 15 plus clips. And so what that means is if you do a podcast every week, you've got 2 clips to post every day. And that's video clips. That's on top of what you're already posting. And so in reality, you should be posting 4 or 5 times a day. And if you have those 2 video clips, you're halfway there almost. And if you're just posting a thing in the morning, a thing in the evening, and then you're pretty much there. And then now you're in front of people consistently over and over again. And when people go looking for your product, you're going to start to show up in front of them too, because you're going to have relevant content for those people. And then the next thing, and also when you post a lot of the stuff to social media, typically you're going to post, not typically, but a lot of times you're going to post backlinks, links to your website, links to take you to the place that you're trying to sell as your product, since you're creating a sales funnel, essentially. And so having those things act as backlinks that also improve your SEO for your website, for your other social media content that shows up on Google and when people go searching for specific products or services. And so having that is essential, those 15 clips. And then you also are able to generate, using the transcript from the podcast, ideas for blog posts that are using your voice and your knowledge as it's derived from the transcript of the podcast that you did, to generate blog posts that are going to go on your website that you may be able to use on LinkedIn to generate interest from other people. Or to connect with people that may be in another state or may have a licensure that you don't know about. Whatever it is that you may be trying to do, those blog posts are going to be able to use some of the expertise that you talked about already, using your voice in a podcast to generate blog posts as content for whatever channel you decide to post those things on. That's also great for SEO because it gives you better topic authority. Now you've also got a podcast that you can put as a video on that blog post, which also improves the likelihood of it being found on Google search. And so a lot of the things that you would get typically with a website or by paying for monthly SEO, you're now going to have it all rolled together in a video podcast that puts out the same amount of content, provides a lot of similar SEO context that you would have gotten by paying somebody just to do SEO alone. And then as a result of that, you end up with evergreen content. And evergreen content is just content that lives on the internet forever. And so if a year from now, the thing that you're talking about becomes hot and trendy, that content's now usable again. And people are going to find it because it's usable again, because the algorithm's going to push it to them because it's trendy. So that's why a 30-minute podcast once a week with a price tag that some people think is expensive, but when you start really breaking it down to the line item, you end up getting down to being around, $30, $35 per post. A blog post by itself can be between $200 and $500. So if you're getting 2 or 3 from one podcast that costs $750 to produce, I mean, the cost of the podcast alone, the cost of the blog post alone equal the amount that we're charging to record one of these podcasts.
Yeah, and the blogs, like we said earlier, they're in your words.
Yeah.
Because it's you talking.
Yeah.
The future is now.
The future is now.
Oh, yeah. The future was yesterday.
Oh,
yeah.
We've been here.
Yeah, the future is what we're thinking about for 2 years from now.
Yeah.
And we're already putting some of the R&D parts in process to make those things a reality.
Now, let me ask you this. You said weekly, obviously, is ideal if you're really, really pushing for following. Yep. But what about someone who doesn't have a budget like that? Maybe they could do the $750 once a month.
Yeah,
what's the value in that?
So the $750, if you pay $750, that's actually the one-time cost. And so if you do a 10 episode series, for example, you start adding some discounts to that. So it actually brings it down, instead of $750, it brings it down to like $690 per month or per episode. If you do like a multi-season series, it just incrementally goes down depending on how many you book ahead of time.
Okay, awesome.
And you can even do like a three episode mini series if you're very hyper focused on a specific topic and it requires that many episodes. And that's at a discounted rate as well. So yeah, they're it can be episodic or it can be a single episode.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because for me, I am constantly a recovering perfectionist, and getting ready to get ready is my downfall. So for me, I've adapted the done is better than perfect. So in my mind, even if you can only do one session a month, that'll still get you started, and you can always use that to build from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, posting something is better than posting nothing. A lot of times having just the thing on there, whether people are watching it or not, builds the awareness of your brand, of your existence at all. And so getting you in front of it, even if they stop for a couple of seconds and then keep going, if they do that every time, then they're still interacting technically with your posts. And so, it's just about being in front of people. The more you're in front of them, the more likely they are to see something that they relate with. And if they relate with it, the more likely they are to follow you. And if they follow you when they come to sell their house and they know that you're a person who sells realty and they feel like they like you enough to contact you, they will. And so that's just remarketing. And so, I think I kind of got off track.
Can we also talk about how fun it is? Because I think a lot of people are so afraid of video. And it's weird because I remember, which granted, most of mine are like the pull out your cell phone and just do it to get it done videos. Yep. But when I first started real estate, first of all, like I was thrown, go door knock. To anyone who's never door knocked, if you are an introvert, go door knock. You will not be. It is not possible. You'll feel like you're dying, but you come out of your shell. So for me though, even with that experience, starting video was almost traumatic, right? But sorry, phone's ringing all the time. I was also loud.
Settle down.
Never. No, but it's terrifying most of the time, and even sometimes now I'll get in my head and I'm like rehearsing what I'm gonna say, and then it doesn't come out right, and I overthink it. But when you walk in here, it was just so inviting. And I feel like we're just friends sitting down for a chat, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that you guys know that I do feel like it works.
No,
thank you.
Good. No, we aimed to design it that way, and so we're glad to hear that it's working.
And your lit tree over there is very like between the ferns vibe.
That was donated by my grandmother, as well as all of our antique cameras.
Yep.
So
there's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Thank you, Nana.
Yeah. No, we try to keep everything on theme. We try to keep everything relatively on brand. 3D printed hearts that match the heart and the logo, that stuff that we have. And so you go to the website, you come in here. There's something familiar about all of it when you walk in the door, and you're not sure what it is, and that's on purpose. And so that's what we aim to do. We want you to come in, feel comfortable, like you've walked into a house that you've been in before, with family members that you haven't seen in a while, but that you know you're going to have a good story and be able to catch up with each other. And so far, we've been able to replicate that a few times, more than a few times.
Yeah, every single day.
Yeah. So
it's working.
It's working.
So how about
do you have more slides?
Wrap this thing up.
Yeah. So next slide.
You don't want to talk about how we do it?
So we do it with AI. And so what we do is we'll create an AI agent using your video and audio content as a guide for generating print, blog, website content, and social media posts based on your real opinions and your real voice. And so that's by using the podcast and understanding how your voice sounds, like the way you talk about things, the words that you use and choose, and then translating that into a blog post using AI to help us decipher your own knowledge and language to make it something useful for your customers. Yeah, we're quite good at that.
Now, what does that look like?
What do you mean? The blog? It looks like a regular blog. Yeah, it's like it'll be like here. You can post it or we can post it, whichever way.
This looks like an article on your website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a blog post, article, news post, whichever. Mm-hmm.
So we can come in and do a topic on the top 5 mistakes people make when buying a house, and then we transcribe that.
Yeah, it can be as a listicle format, which is like where there's like bullet points talking about the things that were talked about in the podcast, or you can do it as a full-on like topic and opinion-based article. It's really a matter of like personal preference and what your audience engages with best.
And it's just formatting you as the expert. As our next slide shows.
That's right. And that means it's more authentic, more accurate, and more useful because it's coming from an actual expert. That expert is you. You are the expert. When you hire somebody to write a blog post, a lot of times it's just a dude with an English degree. And so, or
English as a second language.
Or English as a second language. Yeah. No, and that's honest to goodness truth. So it's like a lot of, who goes to a website and reads a blog post? Do you know why you don't go to a website and read a blog post typically?
Because I have the
because it's already on the site.
Because it's not written for you. It's written for a robot.
Yes.
And that's actually changed recently because Google has now made their search ranking based more on context. And so usefulness is part of the algorithm because AI can actually interpret usefulness now. And so if your content isn't useful, you won't get ranked as high now because AI can actually draw context versus keywords.
It's almost like it's going to be not who's just spending the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's going to be a matter of what is capable of actually helping people the most, because the internet has gotten away from that. People figured out how to utilize keywords to get people to see their website, but then you go to a website, you don't know what the hell it's talking about. And so luckily Google is trying to fix that problem that they created, and doing it by deciphering context by pulling context from what's on your website. I think it's a good thing too.
According to the statistics that I pulled up yesterday.
Yeah.
80% of the internet traffic is video on the entire internet. Yep. 80% of all the traffic is video.
Where's that statistic from?
And video is 12 times more successful than other content. Yep. It is from my Facebook page. So I forgot. I don't have the article with me that I pulled up. But.
So people read on average, like if you go and you look it up, and how much people read every year, that people read on average in the United States claim they read 3 books a year on average. If you break that down based on the average length of the book and how long it takes people to read, that ends up being in total about 24 hours. It breaks down to about 5 minutes a day they read. 5 minutes a day. If you look at how much video people consume, on average, it's about 2.5 hours a day. Now, the math of that is, what was it, 5 and around, carry the, I'm kidding.
50.
It's 50x. Yeah. So the people consume video 50 times more frequently than they do print. And so anybody who tells me that there is something that exists in the world that provides more value because video can produce print, as I've just put on display, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody who tries to tell me that there's more value in anything are fucking lying to you and they're being disingenuous and they just don't want to do it.
Well, I think a lot of it is socially and also psychological, because we are in a society where everything is super fast paced. And if it doesn't grab your attention, they're not sticking on it. So would you rather read an article? I mean, heck, even when I get the news, it's like 3 headlines in one, and it takes me forever to figure out what the heck it's talking about because it's 3 things jumbled together. So if you can sit there and literally just stare at a screen and get all the information, that is so much easier. And
it's more easily retained too, because now you're activating multiple senses as well. And so the more senses are active while you're consuming a piece of content or information, the more likely you are to retain it.
But then it's also more personal. So if you get that, where if I'm watching the same person in a video over and over, and then I meet them in person, it's this weird phenomena where like, I feel like that's my friend. I know you. And then they're like, who the heck are you? Call security.
He's experienced that. Yeah. At the networking event thing. Like, yeah. He had people come up and like, I feel like I know you. Like straight up tell them those words. Exactly. We have it on video.
People I've never met before.
I get that too. Yeah. Even just like my crappy stuff I put out. It's weird that I'll have people message me, and a lot of times it's agents, sometimes it's clients, that are like, hey, this might be weird, but I've been watching the stuff you post on social media for years, and I feel like I know you. And for me, I'm like, well, because I mean, I don't really filter anything. You do know me. That is who I actually am. But it's so cool how that happens. But I think now we're at a time where like just pulling out your phone and throwing it up doesn't make you the polished professional that everyone wants to be, right?
Well, when you break it, again, it comes down to numbers, right? So we start talking about a marketplace, supply and demand, and so everybody's trying to do it now, and so everybody's at that level. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm gonna be a little cocky. Yes, everyone's trying to do it, and the problem that you run into is that everybody's trying to do it, and the quality is the same. And that market has now become crowded. And so getting away with kind of the lower quality, like iPhone video without setting up that stuff, it's harder now because there's more people doing it. And so the audience is still the same size. The audience didn't get any bigger, but the people posting did. The number of people posting did. And so now you have a crowded market. And so it just can't reach as many people because there are more people posting the same things.
Yeah. From what I was looking into yesterday, there's 200 million content creators in the world.
Yeah.
200 million. That's a lot. And YouTube has how many billion users at this point? It's like a three or 4 billion. It's like half the world. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's, and so you have to figure out how to actually reach people in a way that's not necessarily the same as everybody else in your niche. And so it's like you have a niche that you're a realtor, right? But the thing that you're going to find people for isn't going to be real estate, because there's so many people doing it. Unless you have a much higher production value and a budget that can put you in front of people, right? And so figuring out what people aren't talking about as much, but that there's a trend moving towards where the attention is shifting before it gets there, before people realize it's there. If you can beat people to it, that's how you get in front of a new audience that doesn't have someone representing the service that you represent yet. So that's the key, and that's where we run to. We're like, where's the value? Where can we find value? And how do we help people put that on display on screen so they can reach the audiences in the niche that they're able to connect with, that there aren't a million people already doing. It's like, and for some people that's D&D, and for some people that's fast cars, for some people that's earthworms. It doesn't matter. The point is that you're trying to connect with an audience that connects with you, because no matter if you're doing a sales pitch, people know you're doing a sales pitch. They know it. Like you can sense it. Like you feel it. If something, there's a chemical in the air, and you're like.
It's so much worse when you come from sales too. Like, man, when we first bought our house, we had these ADT guys, and of course they show up and they're like, this is the only time I'll be here. And I'm like, thank God it's the only time you're going to be. 5 times, different people. I don't know what the heck is going on over there. They have turnover, or if this is just their strategy, but there's always a new person over my area, and they just have to make sure to talk to me, and they'll go through their whole little spiel. And I'm like, listen, you've done a great job. I'm still not buying it.
Right. Yeah.
But they honestly, like, they do a really good job. I don't want to undercut that, because they do. But if I don't want the service, I don't want the service.
Right.
And I think that's part of it too, and I find this a lot in real estate, is people just get to where they're like, well, I can convert it. But why? You know, there's so many people who want to work with you. Why are you dead set on spending 2 years of your life to convert someone who at the end of the day is only going to like half agree to work with you regardless?
Some people love a really stupid challenge.
It kills me. It kills me.
I think a lot of people have been told that's like
the name of the episode.
5 to 7 touches or something.
Minimum of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, if I talk to this person at their front door 7 times, eventually they're going to say yes.
No.
I'm just going to beat them into submission.
No, that's
Doesn't
how
work that
you
way.
get people
That's how you
banning
get
you
beat.
from Facebook groups, and
Yeah.
you walk in the HOA neighborhood and everyone's already called everyone, and then you wonder why no one's answering the door.
Oh, my favorite ones are the in all the small business networking groups on Facebook. It's always the same person, and they always post, "Hey, I need the best in town for this," and it's like they make 2 or 3 posts a week, and everybody recommends all their friends that they use and everything, and then they just bombard these people with their print ads that they're trying to sell. Like they don't want to use these people for their service. They just want to bombard them with, hey, join Mint Magazine and buy from me, or whatever it is at that time.
Yep.
Today, I got 3 of these. One of them was at least strategic, of like, hey, do you do commercial or residential real estate? And I'm like, both, actually. And then for some reason, I guess they're not used to that, so it was like a weirder conversation. But the other 2 were just like, hey, how's business going? I'm like, it's going great. It's awesome. They're like, oh, so there's nothing you need help with? I'm like, no, there's not. Thanks. Have a great day. But it's these things too. People have learned that they're going to come in and try to be your friend. And I think it's really cool to see people noticing that too. But I'm always really quick to ask, like, well, what exactly do you need help with? Because that too, if you're talking real estate, okay, well, what is it? I don't even know if it's commercial or residential. And then from there, there's so many different subsects. Or I need a GC. Okay, what kind of work? Because not everyone does everything. Are you building a deck? Are you redoing your crawl space? Do you need a roof? So I think a lot of people just need to ask more questions, and that would fix some of that.
Well, I think sales now is heading back to a like who can I trust type mentality. Particularly happens when there's a much bigger value proposition that you have to meet, like a standard, because things have gotten more expensive, and so people are a little bit more discerning about where they spend their money. And so it's the value of the product, I think, is going to be far more important, like at least in the next half decade or decade, because of the value based restraints that are being put on the marketplace. It's like, whereas you used to be able to get away with a good story and feel good about buying a product because it had a good story. It's like now, if I buy that product, and even if the story's good, if the product is a piece of shit, like I'm going to tell everybody that the product's a piece of shit, even if they give.
Sorry, I was late.
Yeah, it was.
Our delay's not working.
Here, let's try it again. I'm going to tell everybody that the product is a piece of shit, even if the even if they give a pair of shoes to kids in Africa. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter if they fall apart.
Well, that's what I love about my job too, is that it is literally my job to know a guy.
Right.
And so it's funny. I had a past client who I'm helping one of his family members purchase right now. We're actually closing next week. But when he called me to introduce us, he's like, "You're going to kill me." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "I just had this thing done on my house, and I use these people, and I know they way oversold me, and I should have just called you." And I'm like, "Dude, like, yes, you should have just called me. I have a list. I will put you in a group text and get you connected with the best person. Like, come on." So that's something that's really cool too. And something I love about our area as well is you do have this weird community of business owners who really do support each other, and not just because, oh, it's Joe who I met at this meeting, but because we have interacted, we've seen how each other works, clients have used them, we can stand behind the work.
Yep.
And it becomes reputation for everyone.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, this has been a great conversation. And I look forward to working with you in terms of selling this product, because I think I've sold you on it. I think I have. You didn't realize I did it, but I did it.
You did.
I think
We
I
just
did.
threw you in the fire, and
I was sold before I walked in. That's not fair. Nice.
But I love it.
But it is cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I didn't realize the back end AI magic, I'm gonna call it. It's pretty
know.
awesome.
I can show you some of the code we're working on over here. It's nuts. So
you won't understand any of it, trust me. I don't either. It's way
I didn't know that.
But yeah, no, thank you.
I'm just gonna assume, because 99% of people don't understand it.
No, I don't do coding.
Yeah, me either.
All right, Justin, play us out.
Let's go. Kelly, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed yourself. We told you it was fun.
It is fun. And you kind of lose the cameras as the conversation grows.
Yes.
And we didn't even prep for me to match you today. Look at that.
Look at that.
It's just kind of normally our
all
can't see me on camera.
If you wear black into this building, there's a good chance we're gonna match.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we go with. So. All right, guys, we're out of here. See you on the next one.
See ya. How was it?
Well, you forgot I'm super ADD.